prepared to break the silence. I'll be out in the sunshine, running beside the lions. I've been feeling down, but I've been looking up, afraid to fall. God, I've been so down, can you pick me up? Don't let me fall. Can you show me how to fix this mess? I am down and on my knees and I may fall as I'm so close to the edge.
How are we all? Welcome back to Turf Moor House TV, and it's half from me and Diddy Dan down there, our latest edition that's been added to the podcast. Hope you are well. We are back for another match preview. I know there wasn't one ahead of the Norwich game. Fortunately, my daughter was ill. She still is. She's currently coughing her guts up upstairs. Kate also as well, my other half. She won't be in the chat. She's out and about, but she's on the mend. And obviously, I think I'm the one who's coming down with it now. I'm getting the hot sweats, tightness in the chest. So it won't surprise me if tomorrow I'm the one bedridden. Anyway, for now, I'm just going to take it in my stride and see where we go. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. As last night, we did hit 100 subscribers throughout that watch along. So great watch along, by the way, as well. Always better when you win, of course. But yeah, good to be back amongst the match previews. And what a good one we've got. We take on another promotion candidate. Matt, I think it's still too early. As we said off camera, it's very close between top and bottom. There isn't that much difference. But that said, they've had a fantastic start to the season. We take on Reading at Turf Moor in our second of 3 at home, and it should be a good one. Looking forward to getting Matt on it. But first and foremost, please, can you all smash a like on this video? Subscribe to the channel if you are new, because it really does help. And also hit that notification bell to get notified of when we next go live. We are going to be live tomorrow as well. Exactly. I'm treating you a video and art now. I might actually get to know the missus at some point. However, that said, we will be back with, obviously, the prediction show tomorrow night. And, yeah, if you want to be there, 9 o'clock tomorrow is where it's at. You can also find us on social media. It says down there you can follow our socials. And you can. They're all a bit too diddy. If you're looking at your screen going, what, who? Here's where you can find us if you want to find us on socials. So without further ado, with the man, the myth, the legend, Matt, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad. I think you've. I'm much more comfortable with you saying top of the table clash against Reading than I am. I have to say it's a quite a flattering thing after the past years. But as I think we said before, it's still close. I'm not convinced at the moment, but we'll get onto that, I'm sure.
We will. Hope you are well, first and foremost. Thanks for obviously giving us your time tonight. I do appreciate it. As much as I've explained to you off camera, it is going to be a short one tonight, guys. I am currently watching my little girl who is still not 100%, so I can't be leaving her for too long. So it's just one of those. That said, Matt, you are part of a Reading fan group, doing some biz, same as we do from a Burnley perspective, but for the Royals. So let us know, first and foremost, how you are and where people can find you and your mate stuff.
Yes, I'm all good, thank you. Obviously, hope your daughter feels better soon as well. All the good health, obviously, sending it her way. But yes, I'm part of the Elm Park Royals podcast. We're a Reading FC fan podcast. We pretty much just do just podcasts and just Twitter gab, really. We're a group of about three, four of us at the moment that have just obviously come together, and yeah, we're just fans that like talking about Reading, which is probably quite boring to most people. I will like put it out there. It's not the most exciting of clubs, but yeah, it's our heart and soul, and we love it.
Well, that's the main thing. That's the main thing. And the link to the YouTube channel and the Twitter page, I think, is in the description of this video. I am sure I put them in. So please do go and show your love and support. And you can go check Elm Park Royals out as well. A couple of comments then before we get into the nitty gritty of it. Redstone's in and says, can't wait for this one. Dan is back. I am indeed. Henry says, hi, Dan. How's the wifey and daughter? Are they feeling better? Kate's pushed herself to go out with her mate. She doesn't like letting people down. Plus, she was the designated driver to take people tonight. So that's another thing. And says, hi to Redstone. Having a chat in there as well. Ryan's in as well. He says, good evening, Dan. Big up. Big up to yourself, Ryan. Hope you are well. Got absolutely spoilt on his birthday the other day. Couldn't believe it, how much stuff he got. But everyone saying hello to themselves. The good old Stream Elements bot's back again. Beautiful stuff. Everyone's saying they love the mini Dan. See, you can't. The thing is, I'm glad that it's only that mini Dan you can see on camera. Let's just put it that way. Mark's in. He says, evening, Dan. Evening to your fine self, Mark. Hope you are well. Top 10 battles. Brad is in as well. Never thought I'd see Paul Ince, Vincent Kompany and Andy Carroll stood on the same turf. 3-2 Burnley. I'm going. Well, I will be on Brad's channel as well at 9 p.m. Hopefully I'll have got the little one down to sleep, so it'll be much easier. In fact, I'm hoping she's all right. She coughed and then stopped. Let's hold out luck. Yeah, she's coughing again. But yeah, we will be on Brad's channel at 9 o'clock tonight. So please do go check us out. We're doing the top 10 Premier League goalkeepers. There's 3 of us giving our top 10. So go check that out to find out and get your top 10s in as well. Really do appreciate that. Man like John Wayne's in the house. He says, good evening, lads. Evening to your fine self, John. Everybody's saying hello to each other. Henry's happy that Liverpool ladies are 2-0 up. Redstone says, can't go wrong with Mini Dan. And Douglas Horn, how you doing? Doug's in the chat. Hope you're well, Doug. It seems we've got a bit of a Liverpool contingent in tonight, as well as mixed in with a bit of Huddersfield and Leicester. So yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. It's going to be a good one. Anyway, let's get into it then. Burnley Reading this weekend. I'm going to say it now. I apologise. I did put Reading to finish in my bottom 3 in the predictions. That said, I did my predictions about 2.5, nearly 3 weeks before everybody else. So half of the transfers hadn't happened. Andy Carroll hadn't got his kids to ask him for number 2. All that stuff, all that good stuff. And yeah, I put yourselves and Rotherham in there, to be fair. And I just want to publicly apologise for that.
We're not out of it yet, don't worry. And I'm going to cover my face as I say that, yeah, I did as well. I had us in rock bottom 24th. I wasn't filled with hope, anticipation, or really anything coming into this season. So it's been a bit of a welcome surprise, really, that we're not quite rock bottom yet. So long may that continue.
No, you've started the season pretty well. I mean, a lot of people, when Paul Ince came as manager, was a bit like, yeah, okay, his reputation at Blackburn wasn't great. I mean, you know, I think he had a spell at Blackpool where it didn't work out either.
Yeah, Blackpool, and I think Blackburn
MK Dons?
I think MK Dons he did quite well at.
Yeah,
I think he went back there and then it got a bit sour, I think. But yeah, it didn't really, I don't think, fill many people with confidence, especially with the state the club was in last year. I mean, it was getting desperate last year. You know, there was protests at the stadium during the games, before the games. You know, we had 150th anniversary game, which was marred by protests before and after the game, you know, because it had just got to such a desperate situation, and kind of Paul Ince comes in on a interim basis during the season, and it's like, you don't bring someone in externally on an interim basis. And there was all this cloak and daggers, just it was just tell us what's going on at the moment. But thankfully we stayed up last year, albeit by virtue of other points deductions, even though we had one as well. But yeah, it was just desperate. And I think, to be honest, over the summer, I think people were kind of acceptant of the fact that we're not going to get much better than Paul Ince. But the big changes over the summer wasn't in the manager that needed to happen, and that was behind the scenes, because we had no one really running the club. We had no recruitment. Our recruitment was an agent by the name of Keir Yorbachan, who seemingly kills every club that he goes into. QPR being one of them, Everton being another, you know, and Reading nearly being another, you know. So it was just key to get that area sorted, which thankfully the club did. They got back in Mark Bowen behind the scenes as sporting director, or head of football operations, whatever they want to call it. It's essentially sporting director. He runs the club on a daily basis. We got a new head of recruitment structure as well. So it was almost like it didn't really matter who was manager, I don't think. And I think most were accepting the fact that if it is Paul Ince, if we do go down, we just need that stability behind the scenes to rebuild, because otherwise we would have just been a sinking ship, which we had been for years. And I mean, how we were still in the championship, to be honest, I don't know. A lot of luck.
That's another thing, though. That's probably why a lot of people predicted it to go, well, in a nutshell, tits up this season, and thought, well, you know, you scabbed it by the skin of your teeth last season. Paul Ince ain't going to rip it up. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not like he's going to come in and save the club's arse. But it turns out, you know, that sometimes, as we've seen, being the underdog, just going about your own business can pay off. I mean, your thoughts on the start of the season then? How do you feel about it?
It's I think it's hard not to look at it and just think, wow, you know, because the contrast between pre-season thoughts and kind of you know, a few weeks into the season, you know, before the season, we're all thinking, Christ me, just somehow, if you can survive, you know, to a point where, you know, we've actually got a team that's, I mean, it's not big on quality. It's not. You're not going to have that when it's full of free transfers and loan players. You know, this is our third season now under, you know, a hard transfer ban that we can't sign players for transfer fees, you know, and fifth season under EFL restrictions as well, you know. So it's not a team that's full of good players or, you know, quality players, but what you've got is a lot of hard-working players. You know, might they sit in and try and grind out results? I think everyone has seen that already on the games that we've played on TV. Yes, we will sit in, we will try and frustrate teams, but one thing that Paul Ince has certainly done is just brought back almost a spirit between the team, which had been gone for years. There's a bit of togetherness in them, and just some fight, some passion. You know, he's been able to, and people will talk about the likes of Tom Ince and that, you know, being daddy's boy in the team, but I mean, he looks like a completely different player to, you know, the Huddersfield player or the Stoke player, you know.
Yeah, it's strange because he was sort of like hit a peak, then sort of has fallen, and now all of a sudden got this resurgence about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an odd one, because obviously his time at Derby was incredibly successful when you look back at it. You know, he got goal scoring. He was hitting 14, 15, 16, 17 goals a season, you know, for them, which for a winger is pretty damn good. And obviously, as Huddersfield fans probably remember, he just like you'd have excellence one week and then just no effort 3 weeks running, you know, and then you might have another one good performance. But so far for us, it's just been the effort levels he's put in. Even last season was absolutely sensational. He's the one almost that leads the line and leads by example, pressing back the back four, and that when it's needed, running until the last minute. Probably lacked a little bit of kind of goal scoring ability. Maybe what he used to have in goal scoring ability, he's kind of maybe lost a bit, made up in work rate. But yeah, he's certainly been a standout so far, and kind of epitomizes the Reading team at the moment, which I don't think many fans really expected from Tom Ince when we signed him on loan in January. But I mean, yeah, if he can continue performing, then this team's got a chance, because it's often when he has a bad game, Reading fall away and have a bad game.
No, I mean, Brad says it there. Is Tom Ince the Champions Zaha?
Maybe not quite. Maybe not quite. I probably wouldn't go too far. It might be my pessimism, but no, it's. I think everyone's just relieved to see a player and a team around him that's just giving 100%. And it's a team of likable players as well. I mean, well, Tom Ince, not many people probably say he's a likable player, but he's turned into a likable player for Reading fans. You've got Andy Carroll, who's almost a cult hero. You've got Shane Long, who's, just Reading through and through, back at the club and giving his all. Players like Yaku Mate as well, Tom McIntyre and Tom Holmes, Reading boys, Reading fans that are, almost stalwarts in this defence now as well. So it's just a likable team, and it's just really nice as a Reading fan just to have that at the moment, really.
No, I bet. Simon's in the chat. He says, top of the league to you. I like that. I do like that. Anyhow, let's not get hasty, right? It can all change. It can all change.
You got to live it whilst it lasts, though. You've got to enjoy it and lap it up.
You
we
do
loved
for
our 1 week at the
for a
top.
while. I mean, that's probably what Blackburn did, when they apparently won it in August and September, and September this year. But hey ho, it happens. Anthony's in as well. He's a Bristol City fan. He says that he had a good game against, obviously, his side as well. I mean, what did you make of the Paul Ince appointment then? Because, you said off camera it was a case of you probably expected a little bit better, but then now you look at it, you're thinking maybe Paul Ince has found sort of his level, would you say?
Yeah, I think a lot of fans were kind of almost, because of the way we survived last year, it was very reminiscent of previous Reading survivals, where we sack a manager in December, January time, or whenever it is. We get a new manager in, they stumble over the line. We stay up because of almost how bad other teams are, rather than the manager keeping us up. It was the same with Clement, Jose Gomez. The list of Reading managers that have seemingly done that is endless in the last 5, 6, 7 years. But realistically, when you look at kind of the state of the club and the state the club was in, you look at it and you think kind of, actually, well, who's actually going to look at Reading and think that's a club I want to take on? A club which had 6 players in contract at the start of the season, and transfer bans, nothing behind the scenes. And I think a lot of fans kind of got confidence back in when Ince, I think it was in his penultimate game, or it was when we played Hull away, and he was asked about basically, will he come back next season? Is there a chance he'll stay on? And he basically said there is massive work that needs to happen behind the scenes, and he would only really come back if that work was done. So, which seemingly it was, because Bowen came in, new recruitment structure, etc., new academy structure as well. So maybe that's obviously what maybe forced his hand. But on a fan base, it was probably about 50-50, 60-40, probably wanted him back. It was quite split, but you always have that with fan bases. You always want to be looking and doing better probably than you really should be. No one really wants to resign themselves to relegation scraps or just that, but that's kind of what Paul Ince has kind of stuck himself to. He's not got carried away with kind of our league position. He's still looking at the table and saying, right, 50 points, get to 50 points. Once we're there, we'll reassess. And it's kind of just what Reading needs, I think, at the moment. Some fans are, still a bit carried away, I think, with where we are in the table, being 8th, I think, at the moment. But yeah, the goal is still just stay up. And I think Ince, to his credit so far, has done very well on that. And hopefully we can achieve that sooner rather than later. I don't want it to go to a last day again.
Definitely
I think as you probably reminisce from Premier League days, like, no matter what people say, relegation fights, they're fucking boring by the end of it. They are just they are not fun, because
to be fair, ours weren't that bad though. Ours weren't that bad because we sort of looked dead and buried. Then we sort of like had a chance. We beat Everton and thought, oh shit, we could get ourselves out of this. turned up at Norwich, got turned over, and it was almost like, whoa, right, all right, a bit of a. I think we turned up there thinking that's it, we beat Everton, everything else will take care of itself, and it didn't. So to take it to the last day in the end was kind of that, amongst the shock of sacking a manager that's been a club stalwart for nigh on 10 years. You're a bit like, there's a lot going on. So it sort of takes the boring part away from it, in a sense. But getting to that last game, I'll never forget it. Stupid me did a watch along on the final day of the season with a Leeds fan. So he watched the Brentford game. I watched the Burnley Newcastle game, and it's one where I cry. I do cry. I won't lie.
That's like going back to the days of the what's it they used to do on Sky with the two fans?
They had that fan zone on, didn't they? That was good for that. That was good. That. It was. Brad says there, Barcelona are out of the Champions League again. Ouch. Anthony says he tipped Reading to finish in the bottom three, but fair play to them. Paul Ince is getting them into turning them into a better team. Henry's happy because Liverpool women are winning 3-0. Good result. Sam says going to be another test for us Saturday if Cullen doesn't play as Cork suspended. Yeah, Cullen seems to have took a knock against Sunderland. I do have a slight inkling he will be back, especially with Cork, as you say, suspended. Seems he loves a yellow card these days. Jack Cork can't seem to keep. People will say it because he can't seem to keep up because of his age, but I just think that sort of never say never, and that we don't rest up. We die for the shirt now is sort of the main reason for it. That said, I could speak very highly of Burnley's transfer business. How can you speak about yours?
I think most Reading fans are kind of almost saying it's pretty well given the situation we were in. We pretty much had to rebuild a squad with no money, with spending £0. Even if we sold our entire team, the EFL was still saying no, you cannot sign a player, and it's probably why players like Lucas Shaw and that didn't leave, because there was no benefit to selling them. I think we'll probably lucky on the fact, Tom Ince had a good stint with us at the end of last season. He ended up staying. Tom Holmes as well re-signed a contract. So did Andy Yeardham, which was positive. That kind of at least laid a few foundations there, but kind of everything on top of that, even players like Sam Hutchinson, which was brought in, obviously left Sheffield Wednesday last season, bringing him on a free transfer. Seemingly has been very good business. He's a bit erratic at times, but I mean, my God, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and again, just goes full blood into everything, which as a fan you can't ask for more. And you've got the likes of Joe Lumley, had a very topsy-turvy time at Borough, QPR likewise. So far, really, he's only had probably one bad game, albeit that was an absolute turgid game by any stretch at Rotherham. But apart from that one game, it's all been very positive, really. And there's so many players that I think we brought in about 16 players or something. Shane Long, another one. The fact that Shane Long came back, that was almost the icing on top of the cake for the transfer window, because I think everyone knows he's not the Shane Long of when he was first at Reading. I mean, even when he was first at Reading, he was never a prolific goal scorer. He had one good goal scoring season when we reached the playoff final and lost to Swansea. But what you've got with him coming back is just an absolute model professional, really. And again, somebody that, he was released from Southampton, and, from what he said, pretty much once he left Southampton, got his agent pretty much to phone the club up. And yes, it took a couple of weeks. It was 2 or 3 weeks to get it through the EFL system, which again was probably trying to stop us from signing any players, seemingly, with how long it took us to sign players. And Naby Sarr, another player that came in, took over 4 weeks to get through the EFL system, which was just laughable, really. But I mean, Shane Long coming back was just, it was just what almost every Reading fan kind of needed. And it just breeded that bit of hope that, there's light at the end of the tunnel. You've got someone back who's so held in well esteem as Shane Long. I mean, like, the reception he gets from Reading fans is unconditional every single time, seemingly. So you had him, and then I guess kind of the elephant in the room, Andy Carroll, kind of again topping that off about 3-4 weeks after that, so it's a team mixed of just experience. There's some young players in there as well, and Bengway being one, and Guinness Walker being another one, a couple of our fullbacks. So it's a really interesting mix. But I think kind of with the rigours that were on the club, I mean Mark Bowen and oh Christ, I've forgotten our new head of recruitment now. Used to be the Spurs head of recruitment. I can't believe I've forgotten his name. But both of them, along with Paul Ince, I think I don't think they could have really done much better, because with zero to spend, there's only so much you can do, and I think they did really better than they probably could have done in all respects.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so far you can squeeze a pound coin, isn't there, and hope to get something out of
zero
it.
in this case.
I mean, you've put results right. You had the 2-1 loss at QPR and 2-0 against West Brom, then narrowly losing out away at Swansea. You put that right with that 2-0 win at Bristol City. I mean, even in those defeats, did you still see a club that was like you still came away from those games thinking we played well? It's just a case that we weren't on the right end of the result.
Yeah, and I think a lot of fans kind of criticised Paul Ince during that stretch of games as well, because they were saying that because we were playing quite defensively. But I mean, in truth, we played Norwich, who were I think second at the time when we played them, QPR, who were I think fourth when we played them, now top of the table, obviously. West Brom, the only oddity in that, but I mean, they'd just sacked Steve Bruce, before that. So it's always the way, isn't it? When somebody sacks the manager, it's just, you're just like, oh, for Christ's sake, not again, not before we play them. But then also the Swansea game as well. There was good performances in those games, and maybe not a good performance as in footballing performance, playing the ball well, keeping the ball well, creating chances, but defensively strong and kind of resolute in those games. Really, we've not really given up many chances, and that's the thing I think with Reading at the moment. Yes, we play with a 3/5 at the back. Yes, we will sit quite deep. We will try and frustrate opponents, but when you've got a team that's lacking on quality, you can't really expect to go to places like Loftus Road or Swansea and play real good footballing teams off the park, because if you do that, you're just going to get torn apart. And it was like that at Swansea. We went 2-0 up in the first half. Swansea had about 80% possession in that first half, but we didn't really give up any chances. And even though we lost that 3-2, one goal came from a corner, and one goal was a 30-yard screamer, which you can't really account for in a game plan sense, So I think even though there was losses in there was good signs, and people never like to say that defensive performances are good performances, but you've got to play with the cards that are in your hand. And when you come up against good footballing sides, it'll probably be the same against you guys at the weekend, because the way you guys keep the ball, pass the ball, is probably the best in the league, I'd probably say at this point. I remember seeing the first game of the season against Huddersfield, and I looked at it and I thought, wow, this just doesn't look like Burnley anymore. It's strange. It was so strange to see, but when you're a team like Reading, and you probably remember it when you're in the Premier League, that you just got to play the way that's going to get you 3 points, or 1 point in some cases. And yes, that's going to be defensively strong, resolute, but that's one thing certainly I think that Reading has done well this season. That's be actually strong and resolute, and almost stopping teams from playing the game they want to do.
No, that is true. Guys, as you can see there from the comment, please do smash the like button on this stream. Subscribe if you are new, and also go check out Elm Park Royals on YouTube and Twitter as well. The links for them are in the description of this video, so please do go and show Matt and his crew your support as well. What I must say as well is a massive thank you to all those listeners on the podcast platforms. As I say, our match previews are available on podcast platforms not long after they are done, so you can catch this one back as well. In fact, you'll be listening right now to me just talking about the fact that you can catch this. However, yes, you can catch us on podcast platforms if you haven't already, on Spotify, Apple Podcast and Google Podcast. So go check us out on either of those. and you will find us. All you got to do is search Turf Moor House. As it says, as soon as I move that comment out the way, it's there in big letters. Just to prove a point, that's how you spell it. A lot of people try sending me emails with an E after the R, and it's so infuriating because I never get them. But that said, Del Boy's in the chat. He says, "What's the crack? What's the crack, Danny Boy? What's the bleeding story? How's it going, Del Boy? Hope you are well. Massive thank you for tuning in, mate. Really do appreciate it. Ginger Alley's in as well, and Redstone is back. Henry says 3-0 Clarets win as well. I mean, I would take that. But I'm probably more nervous for this game than the Norwich game because obviously Norwich had lost 5 on the bounce. So now 6. Poor old Dean Smith, carry on whinging. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one because, you know, both teams, you've got that win behind you against Bristol City, and you'll be looking forward to obviously keeping that momentum going. I mean, coming to Turf Moor, do you feel more comfortable if it was to be at your ground first than it is to be at Turf Moor? Would you rather just get it over and done with now and then pick up the points elsewhere?
That's a tough question, actually. My kind of pessimistic hat would probably say Reading first because I just want to get to 50 points and as quickly as possible. On the flip side of that, if you then don't pick up your points at home, you've left yourself with a bit of a mountain to climb. I think to be honest, with the way things stand at the moment, I mean, Reading aren't the best away from home. I think we've only won 2 games away from home, and that's against it was Millwall and Wigan away from home, which we seemingly play good against the teams, or can break down the teams that are not as kind of comfortable on the ball and almost force them to play the football and then countering them than we are actually against good footballing sides. So kind of as good as I say that we are being resolute in that, you know, I think that there does become a time when quality sometimes shines through. But yeah, like this weekend, I mean, I think what you is it about 16? Is it? No, it's not 16. Is it 14 unbeaten? I think you guys are at the moment.
Yeah, like
which it's never nice when you're having to go to somewhere like Burnley and they're 14 unbeaten. It's gonna be a tough one. You know, I think I've almost said this on every single away game that I think I predicted. But if you give me a draw right now, give me a boring 0-0, I think I'd just snap your hand off for that. Give me a good Sean Dyche 0-0 or something. That would be absolutely perfect. But yeah, it's an odd one because away form, just our home form oddly historically has been the one that's been shocking for us. We haven't been good at home almost since 2017, was the 16-17 season.
Wow.
You know, it's been, and it's why attendances have dwindled so much, because obviously you've had everything off the pitch as well that's gone on. But I mean, home form has just been desperate at times, you know, winning 4 or 5 games at home a season, and it is not always the best pull that for fans. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to just go in and get a good performance. But I mean, when you're playing top of the league, you're away at Burnley. I'm not sure many people with a sound mind would probably be predicting an away win. So
no, it's, you know, it's like you say, I do it now. I still sit there sometimes and I think any point on the road is a bonus, you know, before even a ball's kicked. Any point on the road, no matter whether you're playing bottom of the league or top of the league, away from home, you know, you've got to make your home, you know, a horrible place to come. And to be fair, I don't think Burnley needs to even try. It's like I say, it's a shithole, but it's our shithole, as we like to call it. But let's get into the nitty gritty of the game then. Who should we look out for as the danger men for Reading?
I think probably it goes without saying, probably Tom Ince, because he's almost never ever stay in this team. He's kind of the easy choice at the moment to kind of look at and pick and kind of pluck out. I think past him, you've got players like Junior Hoylett and that, you know, Junior Hoylett, I mean, experienced championship player. Obviously was at Reading last year as well. But this season he's almost been reinvented almost as a wing back, you know, in a 5 at the back system or 3 in the back system. And I mean, I've before this season, I've never seen a player with worse defensive ability than Junior Hoylett, I think. But somehow this season, he's just completely turned it around. And I mean, he's still as good going forwards, really, as he has been. You know, historically, he can put in a good ball. He's got, you know, a cracking long shot on him if he winds that up. And he's probably been one of the surprises of this season. Because I think, again, a lot of people were kind of thinking we're getting towards the end of his career. It's a bit of a swan song, but I think he's certainly proving some doubters wrong, and almost you're looking at it now and you're thinking, well, you could probably give him another year, or, you know, another contract at the end of this year, you know. So he's probably one to look out for. In the midfield, you've got a player called Loom, who we've got on loan at the moment. But he's about 6'3" or so. He's an absolute mammoth of a person, and he's just a bit of a kind of bulldozer midfield. He lacks you never really know what's going to come with his first touch. With Loom, it's either incredibly good or it ends up the other side of the stand, seemingly. It's sometimes disastrous, sometimes magical. But at the weekend, he had a very, very good game against Bristol City in the midfield. Hopefully, he also scored as well, which hopefully maybe it's been confidence a bit, settling into a new country, new league. Obviously, being on loan's never the easiest. Hopefully, the game on Saturday and the goals given him a bit of a boost to kick on. But he's probably another one I'd look to keep an eye on, because I think when he's on his game and kind of firing, he's a bit of a mammoth, really, to get by in the midfield.
That sounds fair enough. So if company you are watching and you need some tactical analysis, there you go.
No, do not listen. I'm just a stupid podcaster, Vincent. I know you'll be listening. Don't listen to me. I'm a moron. You don't need to listen to
me. Right then, I was going to ask your team, but my little one's gone quiet, so I'm going to obviously want to make sure she's all right. Or potentially gone to sleep. It is around her bedtime now. But give us your score prediction for this weekend, then.
Oh, you say I'm in a conundrum of going for a 0-0 or a 2-0 to Burnley, which is never a good position to be in. I mean, I'd love to say 0-0, 1-1. My pessimistic hat is kind of pulling me back. Yeah, no, I can't say a loss. I'm going to go 1-1.
No, fair enough. We are the draw specialists, so you know it could potentially happen.
Listen,
these games
Vincent,
have come thick and fast.
Draw this weekend.
To be fair, though, like half of these players aren't used to the fact of the physicality of the Championship, the fact that the games are Tuesday, Saturday. So you know, you never know. I won't give my prediction yet. I won't give my prediction yet. I will save it for tomorrow for the prediction show. But thank you very much, Matt. Really do appreciate it that you've come on, give us your time this evening, and obviously let us know your thoughts on Reading and who we should look out for. So, yeah, again, please tell people where they can go and show you and your guys some support.
Yeah, so on Twitter, we are the Elm Park Royals podcast. If you just pop into Twitter, EPR or Elm Park Royals, you'll find us on there. Facebook as well. YouTube, even though it's a bit kind of neglected at the moment, our YouTube. But then obviously all of the streaming sites, Spotify, Apple Podcasts and everything, search Elm Park Royals, and you'll be able to hear all of the rubbish we end up spewing about Reading FC, which I know everyone will be dying to hear.
Of course. I like the fact that everyone's keeping us updated with Champions League and Europa and all that stuff in the chat, so I love it all. Thanks again, Matt, for coming on. Really do appreciate it, as I say, and good luck for the rest of the season, other than obviously Saturday, of course. But that said, guys, it is Halloween weekend. Anything can happen. Who's to say that the Royals don't just turn up and squeeze the bollocks of a couple of the players, as well as squeezing? They got something out of nothing with no money, so who's to say they're going to get something out of this game after being, having 20% possession. Who knows? It happens.
I love the optimism. Love the optimism.
The Championship, though, it is such a fickle league, and you don't know what's going to happen from one game to the next. That's why I love it. That and no VAR. But on the flip side, thank you very much for watching. Whatever your plans are this Halloween weekend, have an absolutely splitting time, whatever you're doing. Please do, obviously, drink responsibly, bet safely and all that jazz if you're having a flutter. And yeah, just have a good one. Have a good time, whatever you're doing. I'm going to make sure that the little girl's all right now. Take it easy, guys. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you soon. In fact, tomorrow, prediction show, 9 o'clock. Tune in with us then. Catch us on Top 10 Battles at 9 o'clock tonight. In 45 minutes, we'll be there. So thank you very much for watching. Take it easy. And again, Matt, thank you very much. Up the Clarets.